Revelation chapter 9 and verse 1. And the fifth angel sounded, and it began sounding, but then as we read in chapter 7, the four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, as you can read of in Daniel chapter 7 as well, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. Whenever that's accomplished, the woe of the fifth trumpet will happen. That's when Satan and his angels will be cast out of heaven unto the earth, and that one world political system that we saw in Daniel chapter 7 and that we'll read of in Revelation chapter 13 will emerge out of the sea, which is symbolic of people. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. Remember, we read of a star falling from heaven unto the earth in the third trumpet, which was the political dynasty. So here's when that political beast emerges. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air was darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. This is Satan's locust army, his fallen angels that are cast out of heaven with him. Notice they came out of the smoke of the pit, which symbolizes deception, the darkness that darkens the light, which symbolizes the truth. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads, which is why the sealing of the servants of God had to transpire before this could happen. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh the man. So they don't physically kill people, only spiritually do they kill people. In 4 stages, beginning with the gnawer at the beginning of the 5 months, then the swarmer, then the devourer, and that's when the deadly wound to the one world system happens, the 5th vial, and then the 6th seal, the 6th trumpet, and the 6th vial, that fixed point in time when Satan appears as the false Christ and the 4 angels are loosed from the great river Euphrates. That's when it goes into the 4th and final stage, which is the consumer stage of the locust army. You can read of them in the book of Joel. And in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. That's what will happen at the 7th trumpet, as we read of in chapter 6. They'll want the mountains and rocks to fall on them. They'll want to commit suicide because of the burning shame they'll feel at that time, being changed into spiritual bodies and realizing that they've been worshiping the devil, that they've been deceived, and that they've deceived others, thinking that they were doing the work of Christ, but it was really the mark of the beast in their forehead and in their right hand. And the shapes of the locusts, the fallen angels, that is to say, were like unto horses prepared unto battle. And you can read this in the book of Joel as well in chapter 2. As horsemen, so shall they run. And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. That's what angels look like. They look like they're human, but they're not, because humans were made in the image of the angels. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. You'll see this also written of in Joel chapter 1, verse 6. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron. Remember Daniel's 4th beast, which is exclusively supernatural in Daniel chapter 7, had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. It was diverse from the lion, the bear, and the leopard, because it was supernatural. Daniel's 4th beast is supernatural. And that's another reason you know that we're not in a one-world political system yet. That supernatural ingredient must be here. And these locusts, this locust army, the fallen angels, are part of that 4th beast. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots, of many horses running to battle. And this speaks of the vehicles that they use that appear to be highly polished spectrum metal. You can also read of them in Isaiah chapter 5. That's speaking of the locust army as well, which are exclusively the fallen angels. We've seen many types that fit the mold as far as types go. But remember, this army doesn't physically kill people, and they're only here for 5 months. So that narrows it down considerably, wouldn't you say? This can only be the fallen angels, Daniel's fourth beast. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon, and this means destroyer in both languages. Speaking of Satan, Satan is the angel of the bottomless pit. Verse 12, one woe is past, the woe of the fifth trumpet has happened, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. So the events of the fifth trumpet continue, as well as the events of the first 4 trumpets as well, continue up until the 7th trumpet, and the same thing goes for the seals and the vials. The 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and the 7 vials are the same thing. It just gives you different angles of the event that it's speaking of. And in some cases, it shows you the positive and the negative aspect. So 1 woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter, the 6th and the 7th. And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the 6th angel, which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And remember, we read of the 4 living creatures in chapters 4 and 5. Those are the 4 living creatures that surround our Father's throne. This is the negative of that. Remember, differentiate the negative from the positive, and you gain a much richer understanding of your Father's word that way. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men spiritually. And this is a fixed moment in time. The 6th trumpet, the 6th seal, and the 6th vial. And the number of the army of the horsemen, again, read the book of Joel, as horsemen so shall they run. Now we're talking about the consumer stage of the locust army, were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire, and smoke, and brimstone. Literally, no. This is symbolic of deception, because, verse 18, listen to it, by these 3 was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. Deception is what kills the third part of mankind. And only Christians can die spiritually. Guess how many Christians are in the world today? How many of them know the truth of our Father's Word? Only those with the seal of God in their forehead will remain virgins, spiritually speaking, and not die spiritually, becoming the whore of Babylon as opposed to the virgin bride of Christ. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men, the other 2/3, which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone, and of wood, which neither can see, nor hear, nor walk. Neither repented they of their murderers, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. And this speaks of the other 2/3 who are not Christian. They were dead already. Spiritually dead, that is to say, not physically. Remember, the locust army were commanded that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And now we're talking about the middle of the 5 months whenever the 6th trumpet sounds. And remember what we read of in the first trumpet, which is still sounding whenever the 6th trumpet sounds. All 6 trumpets of deception will be sounding at that time, with the ultimate spiritual fulfillment of the seals, trumpets, and vials at that time. That's what those 4 angels being loosed from the Euphrates symbolize. Not only that, but it's telling you that that's when Satan shall appear and set up his throne, because as I said, the 4 living creatures that surround our Father's throne are the positive. The 4 angels loosed from the Euphrates are the negative. And as we read in that first trumpet, and the 3rd part of trees was burnt up. That's the 6th thing listed there, and that's what happened in Revelation chapter 9. At the 6th trumpet, the 3rd part of men were slain spiritually by deception. Because when a Christian begins worshiping the devil, they're no longer a Christian, they're a Satan worshiper, and they are spiritually dead. The book of Revelation, the very word revelation means to reveal. God wanted you to know what the book of Revelation means. The 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, the 7 vials, the events that bring about the end of this flesh age and the return of the Lord Jesus Christ. 4 compact discs, $20 donation. Write Mark 13 Records at mail.com to find out how to order the book of Revelation.